financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Good morning. Welcome to Law and Reality. It is a beautiful day, and we are ready to rock and roll. I've got my clan, my group here. I've got David Einstein. Nice to see you.
Good morning, Ken.
I
Always
know
a pleasure.
Jenny, you like to go first. I'm sorry. Jenny Lingle.
Good morning, Ken.
Skippy Brian Small. How you doing, man?
Skippy?
Good to see you.
Skippy, good morning. I guess
we powwowed this morning before you arrived into the studio, and we decided to come up with a new name for you, and your new name is Skippy.
I preferred Mad Dog. That's an old name.
Mad Dog is it? We could do a whole show on Mad Dog, but we won't. But we might reserve on that point. Well, you would prefer Skippy over Skipper? Which would you prefer between the two?
I prefer to get up and leave if you're going to call me Skippy.
You know, there's always...
How you doing, Skippy?
I've always been a believer...
Goodbye now.
I've always been a believer with my children. I gave them door A or door B. I never gave them door C, so it was Skip or Skippy.
That's pretty good,
okay.
Kenny.
We're going to talk... let's not go there. We're going to talk today in this segment about thinking outside the box with regard to bankruptcy and home options. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the basic facts of the house, and then we're going to develop this under two scenarios.
What color is the
one,
house?
an elder couple, and the other one, their children.
What color is the house?
The house is white.
Okay.
On TV, the house will be a white house.
Does the president live there?
No.
Then
No.
it's not the White House.
No, we're not going to talk about who's living in the house. We're going to talk about the house first. The house right now has a fair market value of $125,000. There's a first mortgage of $145,000, a second mortgage of $30,000. The owners of the house have gross monthly income of $4,000 a month. The first mortgage payment's $1,500 a month. The second mortgage payment's $225. Those are the facts. Very narrowly drawn facts. I'm just giving you the income, and I'm giving you the house and the mortgages and the mortgage payments. And I want to develop and think about things from that perspective. Now, couple number one. Warren, age 85, and his wife, Doreen, age 84. So we're talking about an elderly couple. They are retired. The only other assets they have is $200,000 cash in a CD, not in an IRA, not in retirement money. They have two children, and it so happens that Warren and Doreen have two children, William and Daisy. And we're going to talk about William and Daisy later, but from the standpoint of Warren and Doreen, there is an issue of this house and their $200,000. And I have questions. Question number one, and I'm going to open this up to the brilliant group that I have in front of me to determine the answer. The question is, how much is the house underwater? Do I have any volunteers?
It's $50,000 underwater.
And how did you arrive at that fact, Skippy? Brian, sorry.
I don't know, Kenny. Why don't you tell me how I arrived at that?
The fair market value of the house is $125,000. The first mortgage is $145,000. Second mortgage $30,000. Therefore, the mortgages exceed the value of the home by $50,000, so it's $50,000 underwater. Do you agree with that, Davey?
Yes, with the caveat that it's probably even a conservative number because you've got commissions and cost of sale, but the 50 would be maybe the best scenario.
Agreed. All right, now, and I want to throw out questions. And what happens to the ownership of the house if Warren dies? I don't want to talk about the mortgages. What happens?
How's it owned?
William and Doreen own the house. Warren and Doreen own the house as tenancy by the entirety. So in the normal fashion that a couple owns a house.
When Billy bites the dust. And
no, his name's not Billy. His name is Warren.
Warren? Okay, well, when Warren bites the dust, the house automatically, by operational law, passes to his wife.
Okay. What do you mean by operation of law?
Well,
is this like a surgeon going in and operating? What does by operation of law mean?
They own the house, tenancy by the entireties. That means that they each own a 100% undivided interest in the home. Therefore, when one dies, the other one automatically owns the whole house.
All right, but what does by operation of law mean?
Give
me a synonym for by operation of law.
A synonym for
automatically.
There you go, bingo. That's exactly the word that I was looking for. If this was the Gong Show, no, the Gong Show. When you hit the gong, it's when you had the wrong answer.
Sorry,
right?
That was probably name that tune or something like that.
Yeah, no, that's exact. Automatically was exactly the word. It happens. It doesn't go. You don't go through probate. It's instantaneously. The moment that Warren dies, by operation of law, ownership vests completely in Doreen. Now, there's other circumstances where we have assets in ownership that passes by operation of law. Anyone have an example? An insurance policy.
You're talking about when there's a beneficiary designation on an insurance policy or some type of account. Even bank accounts could have payable on death beneficiary designations.
Right. Now, it's an important point because in this circumstance, let's go back to the house. Warren passes away. Doreen now owns the house by operation of law. That process doesn't make Doreen obligated on the mortgage, but she's already obligated on the mortgage because when they purchased the home originally, in the normal course, they both signed the note. They're both liable on the mortgage. So in this particular case, by operation of law, Doreen now owns this house. It's $50,000 underwater. She still has the $200,000. Now, when we come back from the break, I want to deal with the problem of Doreen's 84. Let's assume she's not going to live very long. What's going to happen with the house and $200,000? We'll be back.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem. All right, welcome back. All right, so we're dealing with Warren and Doreen. Warren passed away. This was an elderly couple. They had $200,000 cash to their name, not in a retirement account, and the house is $50,000 underwater. Doreen now owns the house by operation of law. She's still obligated on the mortgage note because she signed the note, so did Warren. Here's the problem. If Doreen dies, that house now goes through probate. And even if she doesn't go through probate, if she transferred the house to a revocable living trust, you still have to take care of the debts of the estate. And in this particular case, the house being $50,000 underwater, the bank's going to put a claim in against the estate, and ultimately that $200,000 is going to be subject to this $50,000 underwater claim of the bank, and Warren and Doreen's children, William and Daisy, instead of getting the benefit of the full $200,000 if Doreen were to pass away, they're only going to see $150,000
on the best day, and you're going to find out that 50 may be closer to 70.
Correct. Or unless the house goes up in value, and then it could go down. But here's the point. They need to do something. Doreen needs to do something if she wants to make sure that whatever's left out of that $200,000 goes to William and Daisy. None of it goes to the bank.
Now,
what's her options?
In this
what
position,
can she do?
are we suggesting that Doreen's never going to actually have a need to use any of that $200,000?
Yeah, I'm assuming that. Let's assume that she passes away quickly after Warren. She's so distraught that she's lost her husband of 60 years, and she just has lost the will to go on, and she passes away soon. For Doreen's sake, we hope that doesn't happen. We want her to live another 25 years, but let's go with this in the assumption. How do we get the house? What do we do about the house and the money? If she dies with the money and the house in her estate, the bank has a claim for $50,000. I see two options. What do you guys see?
Well, what about Doreen buying a life insurance policy with a $200,000 benefit for $200,000?
Skippy, Doreen's 84 years old.
Don't call me Skippy.
Well, when you come up with Doreen buying a life insurance policy,
she can buy a life insurance policy for $200,000 that passes to her children. So there's no asset there.
What do you think the cost of the life insurance policy is going to be?
$200,000.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe you got an idea there, Skipper. Why not just transfer the $200,000 out of Doreen's estate into an irrevocable trust so her children are the owners of it, but she still has control over the money by being able to designate who the trustee is or remove the trustee is one, or she could transfer the money to her children if she trusts them, or two, she could short sell the home while she's living and get it out of her estate.
Doesn't she run into a problem of short selling the home with $200,000 in cash?
First, she transfers the money to the children.
So we're going
You could have a problem with the $200,000 of cash and short selling the home. That's true. We might have to move that $200,000 into an LLC or something like that.
So in other words, we have to think outside the box with the money before we get rid of the house.
Yeah. Run quickly. I want to move on to scenario number 2, but back up again and give me the insurance idea.
She buys a life insurance policy.
She pays $200,000 cash for it.
That's right.
And it provides a death benefit to her children.
Of $200,000.
Aren't there usually caveats there, though? If you live past 99, it's no longer a valid insurance policy?
It would be a cash value policy. Therefore, it passes tax-free.
The only argument that the problem with doing it is technically, I think it would be a fraudulent transfer.
Well, it's all a
made
fraudulent
for the purpose
transfer
to hinder and delay. But so would moving the money and transferring it to the children,
or putting it into an LLC. It's the same concept.
It's not a impossible scenario.
Well,
I don't know that anyone would write it.
I mean,
it's an interesting
unless
idea.
you know for sure, there may be a bit of an assumption there that the $200,000 policy is going to pay at least $200. But the premium is $200. The premium may be more based on her age. I don't know.
Let's not get hung up on it because that wasn't really the goal of what we're trying to say. But here's the point. The point to be made, and then let's move on to scenario number 2 with William and Daisy, is if you have a house underwater in an estate on an elderly couple and they have other assets, you have to separate and get the house out of the estate or get the money out of the estate before the last of the two spouses passes away. Otherwise, the bank's going to have a claim. And a lot of people miss out on that, and you can't take care of it after both are deceased. Then you don't have the flexibility. All right, scenario number 2. William and Daisy own the home. Same $4,000 a month of income. They don't have the $200,000 of cash in the bank. And the house is $50,000 underwater. What can they do? William and Daisy have a couple kids. They have a family. They're middle-aged. All right, first question. Could they modify the mortgage under the facts? Because the mortgage payment was $1,500 a month. What's the rule, Brian?
It's legally possible. It's 31% of their gross income.
So 4,000 times 31% is
$1,240.
Okay, and right now they're paying $1,500.
So since their principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, that combination is $1,500 currently, because 31% of their gross income is less than the $1,500, they're eligible under HAMP, which has been extended to the end of 2016 now. They're eligible for a loan modification.
And they could reduce their payment in that scenario by about $260 a month.
Correct.
Right. Do you think HAMP will get extended beyond 2016?
I absolutely do not. I think we'll have Republicans everywhere.
Well, I mean, who knows who's going to... You think... Well, you're predicting a Republican White House in 2016, Mr. Small?
Unfortunately, yes. The only thing that may
there
be
you have
savings
the prediction
grace.
right here, ladies and gentlemen. Skippy's going on the line predicting Republican victory in the White House in November of 2016.
He's also predicting that you're going to eat a Thav Gross Law and Reality mug.
If I keep calling you
Skippy, yeah.
All right.
Which has a better chance?
Probability is the mug.
And I think it would be the Republicans.
All right. Is principal reduction on the mortgage possible, Brian?
The answer is possibly. Principal reduction is coming from various lenders right now. There's no set rule in stone that says you're going to or not going to get principal reduction. But you're not going to get it if you don't ask for it. But if you do ask for it, because of all these lawsuits against the lenders, it's possible that the relief available to you includes principal reduction.
Particularly because they meet the HAMP criteria and the house is underwater. If the house wasn't underwater, you wouldn't have that opportunity. But because the market value is depressed, they have a chance. You don't know if you'll get it, but there's a chance. We come back after the break. We're going to look at bankruptcy angles. We'll be back.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Fav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, welcome back. Before we get back to William and Daisy and look at the bankruptcy angle, let me do quick announcements. We've got seminar coming up, Save Money Through Debt Elimination. The dates are, and if you're watching the show on TV, the date of the first one's already going to have passed, but the dates are June 3rd and July 15th. Those are both on a Wednesday, 7 to 8:30 p.m. at our conference room at our offices in Bingham Farms. That's at 12 and F and Telegraph. We cover all of these issues, and including we're going to cover the divorce issue of dealing with mortgage obligations post-divorce that we talked about on the show a couple segments ago. How to use bankruptcy to your advantage, when bankruptcy works, when bankruptcy doesn't work, how to settle credit card debt outside of bankruptcy, all of the angles that you can use in order to preserve future income. It's not as much about the immediacy of eliminating the debt as it is about the long-term play of saving money, and if you're carrying too much debt, you're compromising your ability to save. And that's the message that we're trying to get out to people that is not emphasized enough from a financial standpoint. You can't save money if you're stuck making $1,500 a month payments on credit cards. Your chances of saving money are zilch. So that's the whole point. The seminars are free. To sign up, go to lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. We got a couple free reports. Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Samasco. That's available at ssifreereport.com. How to Save Your Home with Regulation X, The Hidden Secrets, written by yours truly, is available at regxhomesaver.com. I want to thank our sponsors, Thav and Samasco Law. Now, back to Brian with William and Daisy. Let's look at the angle of bankruptcy. How could Chapter 7 work to effectuate what we call a walkaway strategy?
Okay, well, Chapter 7 is debt elimination bankruptcy. Wipe out your debts, get a fresh start. Now, what this would do, Chapter 7, simply put, would get rid of the unsecured debt that Daisy and William have. Would
they qualify? They're making $4,000 a month.
They would qualify. There's no question. They're for their family size, they're below the median income. We're going to show they have a $1,500 mortgage payment. They're going to completely qualify.
All right, so they file a 7 and they discharge the debt. Does that mean they no longer have to pay for the house? Do they get to live there for free the rest of their lives?
They've discharged all of their debt. They discharge their unsecured debt, their credit cards, hospital bills, lines of credit, whatever.
First mortgage, second mortgage.
They also discharge their personal obligation to pay the first and second mortgage.
Okay, so they don't have to pay for the house anymore?
If they want to live there, they have to continue to pay for it.
Otherwise, what would happen?
They'll be foreclosed.
Okay. What about on the second mortgage?
The second mortgage, that's an issue of strategy. From a legal standpoint, the second mortgage lender can foreclose if they're not being paid. However, the second mortgage lender is underwater.
So they probably won't.
They probably won't. Right. So how long do William and Daisy want to live in this house? We might suggest to them that they only continue to pay their first mortgage. We might suggest to them, if they're planning to exit within a year, that they not pay any mortgage payments anymore at all.
Tell me what the big advantage of doing this is, because we kind of jumped on you and we're running short of time. Why would someone do this? What are William and Daisy benefiting by discharging their obligation to pay on the mortgage? What's this accomplishing for them?
They can live in the house and pay for the house as long as they want to stay there.
And when they want to go?
When they want to go, they don't have to short sell because they're still underwater on the house. They can just shut the door, turn off the lights, turn off the gas, and leave.
Or they could actually stop paying almost a year before they want to leave, let the house go into foreclosure, continue to live there for that year through the foreclosure process, then shut the door, turn out the lights, and leave.
We can be even more creative than that. They can move to their new residence, lease out their house for a year, stop paying the mortgage payment, collect the rents,
There's another one.
And move on to their life.
And one more. Suppose they're staying in the house, they're paying the $1,500 a month. They could also do a loan modification.
They could,
they?
and they'll get a non-recourse loan modification.
Which means?
Meaning that there's still no personal liability. The loan modification will recognize that they've discharged the underlying debt in bankruptcy.
One caveat is if you want to become a landlord, you're going to be post-petition, and you're going to be subject to whatever claims a landlord may be. So your tenant could be in there, the hot water heater could go. You may not want
and
that
just
headache.
have them in on a month to month. Don't give them a long-term lease as well. Otherwise, you're going to
you got to be smart about it. But it's a good idea.
Real quickly, we got 1 minute. What about a Chapter 13? Now, I know their income is low, but let's assume what benefits come to a Chapter 13 when you're underwater and you have a second mortgage.
Well,
just lay that out for us for future reference.
Could fashion a Chapter 13 for them, because and even with $100 a month, because they're underwater on their first mortgage, I can lien strip their second mortgage and remove it. So now, if they choose to stay in this house, they maintain liability on the first mortgage through a Chapter 13, and they haven't discharged that. They get rid of all of their unsecured debt. They get rid of their second mortgage. And
keep in mind, the fair market value of the house is $125. The first mortgage is $145. So then they wouldn't be that far underwater.
No, and if
they
depending
stay
on
long enough, they'll get some
depending
equity.
on where they are, they'll develop equity in the home.
Right, so there's a lot of options that are there with the house in bankruptcy. And here's the point. We took the same house for Warren and Doreen and their children, William and Daisy. We took the same market value, the same mortgage amount, the same $4,000 a month income, and the same house payment. But what I wanted to try and illustrate is how the situation is different depending upon your circumstance. For Warren and Doreen, who are in their 80s, the house presented a problem of the underwater problem could eat up against the $200,000 in their estate. For William and Daisy, the situation's different. They have to continue having a house to live in for their kids, and they have to make decisions. Do they want to keep this house or get out? So the whole point being is you have to always analyze everybody's situation specifically to them in order to fashion the remedy. Sometimes you do it by thinking outside of the box. We got 10 seconds left. Anyone want to throw something in other than saying we'll be back for the next segment of Law and Reality?
No, that was perfect.
We'll be back for the next segment of Law and Reality.